And
what's going on, everybody? Jon Impemba here with James Grande. Welcome to the Fantasy on NBA DFS Playbook Show. We got 5 games here on a Tuesday to talk about. Sean Mitchell's on your playbook. That is already out and live. It's pretty interesting 5-game main slate here, James.
Yeah, 6 teams on a back-to-back. Some obviously injury news we got in the middle of the day. I think we might have expected more, but given that a couple of these back-to-backs are, well, the Kings and the Clippers are both playing each other at 10:30, we didn't exactly get that. So there could still be more. We know the Clippers are a team in the past that have rested guys on back-to-backs. They haven't yet this year, so TBD there. The Kings were playing their starters again, down or up 18 at the end of that game last night when they already saw the Nets empty the bench. I was watching that game, the Nets emptied their bench. The Kings sent the starters back out for multiple minutes. So that is something interesting to, monitor. But yeah, 6 teams on a back-to-back, fun little slate. It's just a different grind than it is a 13-game slate. The 13-game slate with all that news that broke yesterday was kind of a disaster when 50% of the field pivots to four fantasy points of Mike Muscala. Right. 20% of the field pivots to 15 of Nick Richards. And then, your winning lineups have 300 points in it, which, used to be a good number. Now you see FanDuel.
On FanDuel, so.
Dude, FanDuel, your score 400 you might min cash on when the chalk hits. They're putting up 600 points over there. So this is going to be another interesting slate because we kind of talked about it yesterday. Things could open up with the Lakers news, I would say, and fortunate for us, we'll get that nice and early because Anthony Davis, even in that game, he definitely was hurt in that game. He was limping up and down the floor. He still dominated, but he was definitely a little banged up. So,
and I think the spread might be a little indicative of that as well, right? It's only a 4-point spread in that game. I think it was
it did get wider though. So that's the interesting part. It opened at 1, and then Dallas downgraded Luka,
right,
to questionable, and then it ballooned to 4.5.
Would it shock you if Luka and AD end up not playing and it's just LeBron versus
Dante
Exum?
Jaden Hardy and Dante Exum.
Right.
No, it wouldn't. But we said it yesterday. It has been one of those. It has been pretty good lately in terms of this year specifically with the rules changes. People clearly want to play, or just more incentive to play with the awards being what they are. So 20 games into the season, I feel like we have gotten more players playing than we have in years past. If this was last year or 2 years ago, Anthony Davis is already ruled out. Not even on, probably on the injury report listed out. LeBron would probably have sat a few games by now. So we'll see what happens. But fortunately, that news will come out nice and early with 2 games kicking off 7:30, one game 8 o'clock, and then 2 10 p.m. games.
Yeah, 2 interesting 10 p.m. games. Obviously, Phoenix, Bradley Beal going to play. Kevin Durant not going to play. Bradley Beal, I would assume, is going to be limited in his initial return. There should be the expectations. On the Golden State side, you saw the reports that the team's considering benching Andrew Wiggins. We'll see, if that ends up happening today or not when that starting lineup, ends up being released. If Wiggins isn't in the starting lineup, is there even a chance he just DNPs?
Yeah. Well, if all the reports are correct and he isn't in shape, why even put him out there when you've now seen in multiple instances what Jonathan Kuminga can do when he's given run, and when Podziemski could do when he's given run, and what Chris Paul brings why even play it? So yeah, I agree. I think there is legitimate DNP risk if he is in fact benched.
Not that we're interested in playing any Andrew Wiggins here tonight anymore.
No.
But it is an interesting slate. Like I said, Luka, AD, LeBron, all questionable. Durant, Kyrie Irving, we know already out. Evan Mobley got ruled out. Jamal Murray, I think, is still questionable. Yeah, still questionable in the back-to-back here for tonight. We know Levine is out. Aaron Gordon's questionable. THJ questionable to play. Patrick Williams questionable. So like so much news still to come here tonight. Derek Jones, I think, got hurt last night.
Gordon probable. Aaron Gordon probable.
Aaron Gordon's probable. Okay. Aaron Gordon's probable. Derek Jones is questionable. Karis LeVert, is he coming back here?
He's questionable too.
So again, so much news for a small slate still to come. Really good break one way or the other where you end up going with tonight's slate. But let's just talk about it, right? Point guard positions here. And guys, if you get your questions, feel free to throw them in chat. Beal 6900, what happened to him? Well, he's been hurt for about 2 months, Mark. So
come on, Mark, just click his name, brother.
Yeah, this is his return game here tonight, Mark. After he's only played 3 games all year, he's gonna be limited. So it is a great price, but if he plays 25 minutes, like I don't know. What was his initial return though? Didn't he play 24? Yeah. So I mean, if he plays 24, 25 minutes tonight, like I don't know. Like, is he a guy that could get there in 25 minutes? Sure. I'd rather him play 30 though, to do it. So if Luka plays on this slate, I think you're going to want to be in on him. But I put it in the Discord yesterday. You and I both, we like to play the prop pick'em games and we follow the bettors, and a lot of people on Twitter that I follow and just were retweeting, we're all in on the Nikola Jokic under PRA yesterday. It was like 54.5, and he went way under. Today, those same people are telling me to go under the Luka Doncic points prop. So, are we worried about paying 11.8 if like the community consensus who bet on these games are saying, I don't think he's going to score 30.5 tonight. If he doesn't score 30.5, are you worried about his overall production at the price?
So I think that in large part has to do with what we saw out of the Lakers defense in regards to Tyrese Halliburton. They blitzed him over half court, made him get the ball out before basically the logo. And Tyrese Halliburton, as we saw in that IST championship, really wasn't all that impactful. He had a pretty good second half, but he had come off some magical games prior to that. So if the Lakers, who are extremely lengthy as a team, like they were using Cam Reddish as their primary defender on Halliburton. He's like 6'6", right? Which is Luka's a big point guard. Like Luka's 6'4", 6'5" himself. If Cam Reddish, he's not used to like bigger dudes just guarding him. So you get the Reddish, you get the Torian Prince. When you go inside the paint, Anthony Davis is like a top rim protector in the league, top 5 rim protector, and that might be like soft, based on what we saw this year out of Anthony Davis, almost 3 blocks per game. So like, I understand it. The Lakers are a very good defensive team in general. I'm not necessarily gonna fade him if he has a team to himself though. Like he is still one of those special. Played 44 minutes in regulation again yesterday. Like 44 minutes. That just you don't get that from people anymore. Like regardless of all these new rule changes, like this is the second time in 4 games where he's played or he sat out for less than 5 minutes in a game. Like,
and against Portland and Memphis, both on the road as well. So like that's the other thing. This isn't like a home and home back-to-back. And I get it, Memphis, Dallas, it's probably like an hour and a half flight.
Right.
But still, back-to-back road games, back-to-back big minutes. Now it's a back-to-back home and a road and home game as well. So, puts a little strain on a guy that maybe is a little banged up. I mean, we'll see how it goes here. But, the 11.8 price tag, I don't know. The spread is interesting there on a slate like today. I haven't really gotten to too much Luka. I said in the Discord, I got Luka in an underdog draft. He fell to me at pick 3. People were worried about the questionable tag. I was like, well, he's here. Like if he gets ruled out, they'll just automatically give me somebody. So I'll just take Luka at 3 and hope he plays, I guess. So other point guards here. You got Booker, Fox, Curry. De'Aaron Fox getting a lot of love here tonight. He scored 40 actual against Clippers in their first meeting.
Yes. I mean, he's just incredible. Had a solid game yesterday, only needed to play 33 minutes, had a little foul trouble in the first half as well. But 45 fantasy points in those 33 minutes. If he gets his normal, he's averaging 36 minutes. You've seen him play 38 to 40 basically in every competitive game. So, that's easy. Another easy 50 burger for De'Aaron Fox. I love the price, and he was really good on a back to back and really bad on a back to back. But we pointed it out. All of his bad back to back or all of his bad games have just literally come against the Pelicans.
Right.
This Clippers, their last Clippers game was actually the second leg of a back to back where he scored 40. So if you're worried about that, don't be. I was listening to the broadcast last night. He's like third in the NBA in points in the paint amongst all players. Like he's 6'1",
Right.
and he's third in the league in points in the paint, which
Just
doesn't make
it.
Yeah, I know, but like that's like reserved for 7-footers and guys who just play in the interior this whole time. Like De'Aaron
Where does
Fox
SGA rank on that? I guess is my question. Too, right?
He's definitely
in there. Right?
He's definitely in the discussion too. Definitely like De'Aaron Fox. I'm highly intrigued by Devin Booker because there's no Durant and we're gonna get a limited Bradley Beal. Like without doubt, whether or not Bradley Beal plays 24 or 30 minutes, there's no way we see Bradley Beal for more than 30. We're going to get a lot of Devin Booker on the floor just being by himself. And we saw it the other night where, he wasn't great, but he did only take 14 shots in that Sacramento game, which is kind of surprising because he did have the team to himself. You have to assume, like, all right, Devin Booker is going to be. They showed video like after the game, he was still in the gym. He's going to take 20 shots tonight after kind of like being really good, but not being good enough for his team to win in that Sacramento game. So I love the contrarian nature of 10-4 Devin Booker when, I do think a lot of people, if Luka's in, get to Luka. I do think a lot of people get to Fox under 10K. And people are like, oh, well, Devin Booker's going to play with Bradley Beal. But like, is he? Like he is, but how long is he going to play with Bradley Beal? How long are these stints going to be?
I think
for
the
Bradley
24,
Beal?
25 minutes is a good conservative effort there.
Right, but how many of those 24 do they share the floor together? Like, are they starting to get rotations where Beal is staggered, right? Where Booker comes out early or Beal comes out early, and then you have just Devin Booker playing, or is it they want to play them together, and Kevin Durant's the guy that they're going to stagger. Like two of these guys are typically going to probably be on the floor together, but one of those guys aren't, and the other one is limited. So we're going to get a lot of Booker by himself at the end of the day. Whether Beal plays 24, 26 minutes, they're not going to play all 26 minutes together. So I really like Devin Booker in a contrarian spot tonight. Warriors have been, a mess. I mean, they just flat out been a mess. And they're losing games they shouldn't. They're really squeaking out games they shouldn't. So Devin Booker at home is a really nice contrarian spot that
one of the few teams not on a back-to-back.
Right, one of the few teams not on a back-to-back. This game in general, like I think the only game featuring non-back-to-back environments here.
Yeah, six teams on a back-to-back here. One of those teams being the Chicago Bulls here. Kobe White's been really good.
Yeah, he has.
He did play 45 minutes in that game against Milwaukee because they went to OT. So maybe that weighs down on you a little bit. They're home at least. Again, another team going like road home, but Milwaukee to Chicago is probably an hour if you walked it, so feeling pretty good about Kobe White this recent run. Denver on a back-to-back as well. They're traveling on the road as well here. So I don't know. The minutes have been great. Shot attempts have been great. The secondary stats have been awesome as well. I took the over Kobe White points and rebounds prop tonight. It's at 23.5. He's cleared that by his points alone the last, 4 of the last 5 games. I don't get why it's so low. It feels like I'm being set up for failure, but I'm taking it and I'm riding Kobe White tonight.
Yeah, I mean, he's been super consistent, even on the few nights in this stretch where he shot poorly, like 6 for 16 against Charlotte, 39 fantasy points, 7 for 20 in that first Milwaukee game, 23 actual 43 fantasy points. Like he's knocking down a boatload of threes. I mean, you'd have to go back to November 17th, the last time he didn't make multiple threes in a game. Like he's making a lot of 3 balls. You mentioned the peripheral stats have been great. Basically chipping in a steal per game at this point.
Yep.
And
everything they said he would be 8 years ago.
Everything they said he would be when he was drafted. and my wife bought me a shirt with him on it, thinking like, oh, this is a great idea. And you know what? Shout out to my wife for seeing the future a little
I
bit.
had some Kobe White rookie cards that I think I just threw away.
I would, yeah, yeah.
So I was like, these aren't worth anything anymore. Let's just gotta clear some space.
He's definitely been good. Denver. I mean, we talked about it on the show last night. Like, this is probably the least like fun game
Sure.
on the board. There was movement in the favor of the over 217. It opened. It's up to 220, 219 and a half on BetMGM. I would say like this is the worst because I was gonna say Cleveland and Boston, but at least those two teams have like playoff aspirations where like the Bulls are gonna not be this same iteration in like a month, and who knows what Denver is gonna look like either. Denver's poised to probably make some depth moves. So yeah, if you can get to Colby White, sure. Just an ugly game environment overall.
Yeah, I agree. And I think on larger slates, we'd probably look to avoid it.
Yeah,
But I think there's just a lot of questionable
true.
situations tonight with all the back to backs and the smaller slate. So, for me, it's fine. We had Derek White on the cover of the show this morning. Another guy that I took is over PRA. I think his points and assist prop is also pretty interesting here. They're home. Cleveland, at times we do worry about that matchup. Garland, Mitchell, no Evan Mobley again for them tonight. They could be getting Karis LeVert. But Derek White, a guy it feels like a guy with a very safe floor. And now he's been in one of those runs where he's popping over 40 fantasy points in 3 of the 5, 30 plus fantasy points now in 5 of 6. I mean, there's just it's a good run for Derek White right now.
Yeah, he's in a great stretch. And like, do I think he goes 6 for 10 from 3 again? No, I don't. But when Derek White doesn't go 6 for 10, he's getting like 3 steals in a block, or has 11 assists in a game, or has 7 rebounds and 5 assists. And like, he just is. I've been saying it to you since, and I don't think you believed me until maybe late, like recently, where I was like, I think Derek White's the second best player in the Celtics. And you were just always like, yeah, but like, I've watched Jaylen Brown this whole time, and like, look at what Porzingis. Look at. We've
Sure.
never had this thing on our team, but like Derek White shaves his floppy hair and now he's fully bald, and you're like, well, but I see it. I see you coming around to
The
the idea.
defensive stats are pretty impressive here as well. I mean, over the last 3 games, obviously, is what they're giving you. The over 1.3 blocks and steals. 2.5 blocks plus steals per game. The last 3 games here, we've had some pretty big steal totals. He had a 3 block game.
Yep.
Always giving you assists and rebounds. I mean, you said it like no Marcus Smart. Obviously, kind of Derek White was a first team or second team all defensive player last year. So like he's just moving into Marcus Smart, but he's a better offensive player than Marcus Smart ever was. So like you're not losing anything really with the Smart to White movement here. I mean, I agree with you. Unlikely to go 6 of 10, but he did against the Knicks. I mean, the Knicks are one of the slowest paced teams in the NBA, and Boston hung 133 on them. So I mean, a weird environment because you look at Cleveland, you probably think similar, like, all right, slow, tough paced team here, but Boston doesn't really seem to care all that much who they're playing. They just score points.
That's I would say the caveat that Boston has against probably anybody. They can just score like when like Al Horford is your 6th man, and like Porzingis is like a 5th option on a given night. It's like, okay, well, that team is probably gonna. That team could score like 140 whenever.
You never win knowing Sam Howes is going to come off the bench and knock down 5 threes.
Exactly. You're not wrong.
It just happens sometimes. What other point guards are we looking at, man?
I mean, you could obviously put Drew Holiday in the same bucket as Derek White. I think largely people are going to go to White. Let's see what the ownership says. It's actually pretty close. Drew Holiday a little lesser owned if you wanted to get like pivot to a slightly lower owned Drew Holiday. We know he has served as like the second best rebounder on the team at times, and he is still an elite defender in his own right. They literally voted him the best perimeter defender, the players, last year. So we're 1 year removed from Drew Holiday being the best voted defender in the league. Even though he's
on a small slate, you get like a decent little floor here. Now again, I would much rather pay for Derek White, but just as likely that Holiday has himself a strong game there as well. Those of you tuning in, appreciate you. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to throw them in the chat. Chris saying hello. The Prince saying he made it. I see
Chris,
through you in agreement with us here. Like
Charlie.
smaller slates. Oh, I said Charlie. Sorry, Charlie, not Chris. Charlie there saying hello. I see through you saying he likes the smaller slates. We do too. We say 5 to 8 games is kind of our wheelhouse slate. So if you guys have any questions too, throw them in the chat. We'll answer them, talk you through what's going on here. And if you haven't already tossed the like button down, obviously that helps us out here as well. Albert popping in saying hello. What's up, Albert? Having to joining us here this evening. Obviously, we're not getting a discount on Hardy, but 34 minutes against Memphis, man gave us 28 fantasy points. We know what he can be. You can be a bucket. And if for whatever reason Luka Doncic is out, only opens it up even more. But clear Hardy's going to have a role if Hardaway and Derrick Jones don't play. Like, even if Luka plays, those guys getting hurt, maybe not playing tonight, going to certainly have an impact where our value of Jaden Hardy tonight.
Yeah, it's a little interesting to see updated ownership over at FantasyAlarm.com. Still has Jaden Hardy at 8% on a slate that doesn't really have like a whole lot of clear-cut value, right? I mean, there's not like anything definitive out there because there are just question marks everywhere.
If Luka gets ruled out tonight, does Jaden Hardy take 25 shots?
There's a very strong possibility. I mean, they're going to go into a game with, let's say, for just the argument's sake, like that, the same people that were out last night are out, plus Luka. And we lost Derrick Jones after 5 minutes last night, which is sad for me because he had 13 fantasy points in 5 minutes, and I played Derrick Jones. I was very high on Derrick Jones yesterday. I mean, there's just no way Jaden Hardy doesn't play significant run because you look at it, it's like, okay, Seth Curry, yeah, but we also saw Seth Curry last night, like, start and only played 20 minutes. He's fine, but he hasn't been able to like give them the offense. I think that when called upon that they need
Luka out for Seth Curry tonight. I think.
Agreed. I also think that there's a scenario where Curry plays a little more if Hardy doesn't go 7 for 15 last night, right? Like, if Jaden Hardy came in and just like turned the ball over a bunch and committed a bunch of fouls like he did in OKC, where we were like, he's going to be great. Or it was the first Memphis game. We were like, he's going to be great. And he just kind of wasn't. So I think there is kind of a case
where started the second half for Derrick Jones there.
For Derrick Jones, yeah.
Played 18 minutes.
Yeah, he's okay. He was getting some love in the preseason. I remember when they started him and Derek Lively, and everyone was like, whoa, what is Jason Kidd cooking over here? They just signed Grant Williams, they signed Derrick Jones, and we got Omax starting alongside Derek Lively. I definitely think there's the guards in general, because Exum is also a point guard.
And point guard, small forward, the
best possible possible eligibility. He is also extremely popular because of that. And he played 35 minutes with Luka. He did it a freaking again, which is, frustrating. But if Luka's out, how many what's your max Mav exposure? Because it's not like it's an easy matchup. But
I would say it's not. Well, it's not necessarily the matchup at that point. I don't really care what the matchup is. If they're so shorthanded, you just play guys playing 40 minutes. It's again the pricing, I think, on some of these guys as well. There's only one guy that's real value per se, right? Like, we don't have a bunch of 3K guys out there. Prosper's 3,700, and then Hardy's 46. And Curry, I think, was 4K. Curry 45. So it's not like you're getting like ridiculous value plays on some of these guys here. Lively's 5,600, Grant Williams 47. So you're probably still only playing 3, 4. Exum, Hardy. I guess if Prosper started, you'd probably play him at 37. And I don't know if you fit Curry in there, but at that point, you're using all that money to spend up for like AD or Jokic or something like that tonight. So usually when we say when everybody's out, we'll play 4. 4 is probably our most. I think we did that with Miami earlier this year when everybody was out. We just played like 4 or 5 Miami guys. So it just can be interesting. And like you said, 7:30 starts, so we're gonna know. So if you guys are tuning in, we always say make sure you're around for roster lock. Hopefully we get that news by like 7:15. We're not sweating it out. But the Dallas lineup's gonna be super interesting to see how that plays out for what it can open up for tonight's slate when it comes to these roster builds. Of course, then you have to decide, where's the chalk going? Where's the field moving to? Is it good chalk? Is it bad chalk? Everybody's gonna play Dante Exum. Everybody, like Boss Bra here, said it's gonna be in on Jaden Hardy, of course. But it's like, where do you find those next plays? Lively had a huge double-double. Can he do that against Anthony Davis? If Luka gets ruled out, Hardaway gets ruled out, does LA just look at it and be like, you know what? Nah. Hachimura, Cam Reddish, Torian Prince, that's our starting lineup here tonight. LeBron AD, take a night, that we could very well, wouldn't be the first time we've seen one team sit their guys and the other one look at it. It's like, you know what? That's fine. We'll sit our guys too, and we'll have our bench play. So it'll be pretty interesting to see where this one all plays.
I also think there's the reverse argument. It's like,
sure.
Well, I could also play my guys and just bank a win.
Sure.
Unless you're
I think possibly, but I think Lakers, maybe they sit 1, maybe they sit 80 and limit LeBron to 25 or something like that, right? See where it goes. They need him, they got him, sort of thing. Yeah,
LeBron's limited. Yeah, LeBron limited that. That obviously went over extremely.
It happened
well
one time. It happened for one game. He was limited. All right, let's go to shooting guard here. Donnie Mitch at $9,200.
Yeah, I got D'Angelo Russell. D'Angelo Russell is at point guard. I would get there.
You think he gets the minutes? I mean, he was obviously 26, 24, 22 in these games.
It's very obviously contingent on competitiveness. He does not close most really close games, but if his offensive game is going,
sure. We saw he's out. I mean, he had a 30 actual point game right here. So I mean,
60 bomb.
60 bombs. So it can be. Yeah, I think I'd like him more if someone's out tonight. For me, because again, if not, I'm just playing Derek White at that price point. So shooting guard, you have Donovan Mitchell, $9,200 here. Again, playing really well. Orlando is always a tough matchup. Boston's a tough matchup. So if you find yourself maybe being a little different tonight, you can certainly take a peek there. Paul George, I like game stacking Clippers Sacramento tonight. If you can make it work, Kawhi's a really good price tag. Paul George is still hanging down in this low 8K range. We know there's value. If you go De'Aaron Fox, Paul George, Kawhi Leonard tonight, that's a three-man lineup you could fit in there pretty easily.
Yeah, the Paul George price point continues to fall. We got it up to 8,900. He was 9K earlier in the year, but since the Harden trade, we're down $500. He's still not scoring and being consistent in that on the front. 20 to 25 is fine, but we know Paul George has 30-point pop-offs, and we really haven't gotten that since the Harden trade. I think he's back to where when originally Harden got traded, he's trying to find his footing, and he's kind of deferring to Kawhi right now because Kawhi's been fantastic. So, but shooting guard, small forward, 8,400 against the Kings is a pretty good spot for PG to be in here.
I've seen some love for Jaylen Brown tonight. Again, a guy that you and I always talk about in tournaments. It could just simply be it's a 5-game slate, so you're looking for that difference maker on a smaller slate where nobody ever really plays Jaylen Brown. He's someone that's consistently under rostered because you look at this team and nobody really wants to pay $7,900 when White's $1,200 less. Drew Holiday, he's more expensive than I think Porzingis is tonight. So his price tag feels like a premium, but he is cheaper than he's been. I know it's not a big drop off, but $300 less than he's been the last couple of slates. He has a 46 fantasy point game in there. He's got a 50 fantasy point game in there, so we know what he can be on a 5-game slate in GPP tournaments tonight. Jaylen Brown has something that I think could be. I'm not going to go out there and say a GPP winner, but you get 7-8x return on him tonight because no one's playing him in the right spot against Cleveland. The front court for the Cavs tonight's a little questionable. No Evan Mobley. They're going to have Struss, Dean Wade, Georges Niang. Could be a decent matchup for him here.
Yeah, Jared Allen's in foul trouble again. Tristan Thompson playing 25 plus minutes. It is interesting when you look at the Celtics. Jason Tatum leads the team 30% usage rate. That was a given. Could you guess what Jaylen Brown's usage rate is?
24.
29. 1% behind Jason Tatum. Now there's a bigger discrepancy when we're talking about fantasy points per minute, but Jaylen Brown having a 29% usage rate means that he could theoretically, like you said, 47 fit, can pop off at any time because he has the ball He's doing as many things on the floor as Jason Tatum is that qualifies for usage rate.
Right.
So,
20 plus shots, usually
right.
most nights. It's just the secondary stats are so inconsistent. He has 2 games with 0 assists, then a game with 0 rebounds. The blocks and steals are good to see,
Yeah.
but then it's 7, 8, 4, 9, 0, like 3, 6, 0, 0, 4. You can just figure out how to be consistent either with rebounds or assists the way like Derek White has been,
Yep.
and then give us the scoring of 30 plus. I mean, that dude would be worthy of the highest paid contract in the NBA that he currently owns. So, again, I think on a small slate like this, 5 games, I think there's some tournament appeal to me with Jaylen Brown tonight.
Agreed.
Working our way down this list here. Where are you taking a pension in the mid tier? I mean, Struss, Thompson, Monk, Reeves, maybe at 5,800 if someone sits out tonight. Like, where are we going?
Really, really, really hard to just look at Malik Monk and not click him every stage. Malik Monk has been awesome. Basically every night. The New Orleans night was whatever, but still got 32 minutes in that game. He's closing over Kevin Huerter at this point. They got Keegan Murray back. Keegan Murray closing that game. He looked good. But Monk, I mean, dude, 21-9. Like he's an elite 3-point shooter. He's a decent rebounder. Like he provides you steals. I know he's always cheap and free on FanDuel. Like you could really hard not to like Malik Monk in tournaments always. Austin Reeves getting a ton of ownership. Really good, obviously position eligibility here. Shooting guard, small forward. That's
Is he going to be able to bring it though, with it not being that the in-season tournament? He's a playoff performer. This Austin Reeves.
This is true. Even like his Team USA performances were good. Like he needs Luka. This is my Austin Reeves theory.
He's going to be on national television tonight. Maybe he needs. He's like, remember national TV Rondo? How good national TV Rondo was.
Dude, was it TNT Rondo specifically, or wasn't it like TNT specifically for Rondo, where he was?
I don't remember. I just remember national television Rondo was a narrative we had to play every single time because you knew the triple double was coming. So
is the TNT game tonight, by the way. Also, I think there is league mandates on nationally televised games. So so Luka probably maybe no back-to-back for the Lakers. I mean, we all saw Anthony Davis get hurt, but like LeBron, I don't know. He was probable last game, and now he's
multiple all pros can't sit, but like Kyrie's actually hurt. Does that go against the Mavericks?
True. That's true. That's fair. It's a good stipulation to have. But Reeves has been amazing since moving to the bench, and he's as cheap as he's been in some time. So it does feel like pretty good chalk at 5,800 when you got that position eligibility. And this is an elite spot for the Lakers. We've said it. I mean, Memphis hung a big number on them last night. Memphis, who has 4 wins on the year. The Lakers are coming off a major championship win. The last time we saw them play over the weekend, like massive championship.
They're hanging a bit. Is tonight no, they're not home. Is tonight their banner ceremony? Did they have a parade for this, or like what happened? Like
that would have been awesome. I hope their banner is bigger than their like championship banners.
Right.
Like it's just like all the way down.
It's the Indianapolis Colts like AFC Division Final game banner.
Yeah. But yeah, I like Reeves 58 quite a bit here.
Okay. I'm trying to think. What was I just gonna say? Jaren Jackson last night. Hey, he showed up.
Yeah, he sure did.
He sure did show up last night.
He sure did.
Below this group, I mean, Levert maybe comes back. Not really interested there. Caruso's kind of an always in play guy if you want to go if he starts. Norm again off the bench for them. Played 25 minutes, had 28 fantasy points. You get what you get with Norm Powell. If you think he can fill it out, 5,200, he can be there. Ayo gave us a Tony Snell last night. 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. 0 for 6 shooting, 1 foul, 26 minutes. He didn't even turn the ball over, so you didn't even get a negative from him in DFS last night. Again, not good for the usage rate. Not gonna play him, but just wanted to point out just how ridiculous of a number that ended up being. With Chris Paul back, Moody played just 16 minutes in that game against the Thunder. Podzinski played 23. If they sit Wiggins, do you lean more Pod over Moody here? Moody kind of feels like he has the more, he has the shooting guard, small forward edge. Where do you think they go in this?
I don't know because they've also used Wiggins as the power forward, so I don't even know if they
Yeah.
would directly correlate because it would maybe the minutes go to Kuminga or they go to Saric, right? Or
He's
they,
coming off of a huge game,
yeah,
so
monster. 2 of the last 4, he's been a monster, and like this guy was like the 4th overall pick. Play him, like play him. He is clearly a great offensive player. I lean Podzimski. I don't think I would necessarily get to either. I
sure.
think if I was to play value down here, Cam Reddish 4,400 again, like really good spot for the Lakers. He just plays minutes. The 23 minutes against New Orleans. You look at the Lakers across the board. Everyone played 23 minutes because they
Mhm.
won by 40. Um, Not a high volume guy, but he is always in a nuisance defensively. He's been really good defensively, 1.3 steals per game this year. Just need to get to like 25 fantasy points for. And then, dude, I mean, what in the world? This dude, there's just no way that like Denver watches this guy do this on multiple occasions and they're like, like you were great last night, but I'd rather play Justin Holiday tonight. Like
Right.
I'd rather give those 28 minutes. Like, dude, he had
Literally the reason you won last night because Julian Strawther went out there and just knocked down 8 of 16, 6 of 11 from three.
dude,
He
but
had
like
5 steals.
he had the 5 in the first half.
Yeah.
Like he got like it's just one of those things where we were talking about this yesterday with Michael Porter. Jokic makes Michael Porter so much better because he's always finding Michael Porter open shots. If you watch the shots that Strawther was getting last night, like off of Jamal Murray and off of Jokic, he was just like open all the time.
Mhm.
And he's this good. I'm not saying I'm going all in on Julian Strawther.
Yeah, it's difficult knowing what the 4 minutes is. 4
4
minutes,
4 minutes.
So, but if you're a 20 max guy, maybe he makes one tonight. I don't think I would go any more exposure than that, but it is a small slate. So if he goes out there and gets the minutes, I mean, certainly someone to have on your radar here tonight. Always the daily shout out to Sam Hauser. Missed all of his threes against the Knicks, hit 5 threes the game before that. He'll do one or the other whenever he gets on the floor, but at least he's going to play 20 plus minutes. So he's been a decent little rebounder there. So again, if you're desperate for a last man in play or something, like maybe Hauser on DraftKings with the 3-point matters can find his way into that. Again, if you guys have any questions, feel free to throw them in the chat. We're happy to answer those for you. And they haven't already, toss a like down on today's stream. Go ahead, do so. Subscribe to the channel. James and I are here live every day, 5 o'clock Eastern time, breaking down the slate. We do our pre-show there, record it at night, release it in the morning, so you guys can kick off your day with a preview of the slate as well. Small forward, we got JT under 10K on this slate. I think that's more so due to the 5-game little price decrease on Tatum here. $9,900 again. Dean Wade, Jordan Niang defense potentially on him today. If there was a spot for Tatum to do whatever he wanted, it feels like this would be it with no Evan Mobley, right?
Yeah. I mean, hey man, you want to play Jason Tatum at the lowest price he's been at all year and probably the first and only time you'll ever see him at 10K for the rest of the year? No objection. Just quick note, by the way, John. Julian Strawther, 13% projected ownership tonight.
Yeah.
Sam Hauser, 12%. So the field onto your little tricks that
5
you're
games
playing
late, not
there.
a lot of value yet.
Yep. Yep.
People
Yet.
looking for guys that might find their way into some lineups for sure. Listen, the JT thing, of course, it's a 12-point spread. The Celtics are usually in double-digit spread games,
Right.
so you just kind of have to, figure that one out. But we've also talked about this, like Boston also at times has sort of been in, more competitive games than we've expected them to be in. I mean, you look at that, the Pacers game, they ended up losing. They beat the Knicks by 10. They hung around with Philly. Atlanta was a 10-point game. Milwaukee, a 3-point game. Charlotte, they lost outright. They barely beat Memphis, barely beat Toronto. So, all those games, they were 10-point favorites as well. Now, They're home. Definitely makes a difference here. But you're right. Getting Tatum at the cheapest he's been all season in a matchup where we know who's supposed to be covering him, I feel like is a good spot to take advantage of what could be a 32-12 type game from Jason Tatum tonight.
Dude, and think about the stars on the slate. Jokic back-to-back, Luka back-to-back. Anthony Davis is injured. LeBron is apparently injured. De'Aaron Fox back-to-back. Kawhi, Paul George back-to-backs. Donovan Mitchell, like Sabonis, like there's a much shorter list of stars that are coming off days of rest than there are stars coming off back-to-back.
Some of them haven't played since Friday. So, they're ready to roll here at home, just kind of chilling out. So again, I don't mind it. I like JT tonight. I think there could be a ceiling potential for him at the cheapest he's been all season long. DeMar DeRozan, point forward DeMar DeRozan here. Double-digit assists in 3 of the last 4 games. Dropped a 40 burger last night against Milwaukee as well in that loss, playing 42 minutes here. We've talked about it. Like, you get LaVine out of that lineup and just the consolidation of production. 3 guys. It's Kobe White, it's DeMar DeRozan, it's Nikola Vucevic, and like that's it. Thoughts here on DDR going up against Denver tonight?
It's definitely not I would assume, but that's for sure.
Definitely not I would assume,
yeah. I mean, another guy who, even if you take away the 5 minutes from overtime, plays 37 minutes in a game he had foul trouble in. So foul trouble in 40 and 11. Like, that's just
the man wants to be traded so bad.
Yeah, I mean, they've actually been like, they had a 5-game winning streak going into that game, and again played Milwaukee incredibly tough for the second straight time. No business playing Milwaukee tough, but sure did.
Milwaukee doesn't play any defense, man. They're going to keep some teams in on them, man.
They are. So, and it's funny because nobody played DeRozan. If you look at the winning lineup last night, he was like 6% owned. Look at the ownership tonight again, 11% owned, and it's a similar-ish spot. I mean, this is a worse spot for sure. Like, Milwaukee was top 5 in pace. Denver, Chicago, both bottom of the barrel in terms of pace. But if you're talking about a guy who has double-digit assists in 3 of 4 games, there's clear correlation to no Zach LaVine. You're talking about a guy who has the biggest usage rate bump on the team. Him and Colby White have the best fantasy point differential increase without Zach LaVine. 1.24 fantasy points per minute without LaVine this year for DeRozan. Like, what's there not to like? Multi-position eligible,
shooting threes,
shooting, rooting, tooting threes these days, and like
10 free throws in 3 straight games.
Yeah, and dude, and his price didn't move. Like, we went from 8,400 2 slates ago, where he plays 39 minutes and goes for 49, and now it's back-to-back 82. $8,200. It's a
Mavs
fantastic
update
price
here. Mavs are optimistic that Luka Doncic will play tonight. So keep that for what it is. It's fine. It doesn't really impact too much for us here because we know what their rotations looked like last night with Luka in. If anything, that might be a little bit more helpful, knowing what they could go to with Luka being in, and also maybe keeping that game. It was a 1-point spread, like you said, before the Luka news came out that he's questionable. Maybe that line moves back towards the being a pick 'em. So, some good news on that front for sure here. Moving our way down again, I mentioned Kawhi Leonard's 8K. Yeah, I'm fine getting there. The way he's been playing lately, it almost feels like he and Paul George should have their prices swapped. For whatever reason, George continues to be more expensive while Kawhi's been the guy being more productive here for the last 5 or so games. Gets his spot against Sacramento, went for 56 with a 34 actual point game against them earlier this year. He had 14 of 18. And again, this is where you sort of look at what they have out on the wings, right? It's Keegan Murray, it's Harrison Barnes, like Kevin Huerter. They're not really a strong defensive. Even Sabonis isn't a great defender. He's just a good rebounder, a good post scorer. So, I don't think there's going to be much resistance here for the Clippers side of things on the offensive of the floor. And we have that late night hammer. They're the 10:30 game. We like to kind of stack that one and sneak up on people when we get in those GPP tournaments. You're looking at a point spread here tonight. It's just Clippers at home given 3.5 with a game total that opened at 233 and it's up to 236 now. So, looking at this spread, it's now the highest game total on the board. Close spread. You're getting an 8K star like Kawhi. He's close to a core play for me tonight.
Yeah. He's not being so quietly anymore, huh? Like, he has been.
You're gonna turn away all of our viewers when
he has been super. He has quietly become the guy that he was a few years ago, but not so quietly anymore. And he did what he did against the Kings the first time around. Again, on the second leg of a back-to-back, He's playing back-to-backs this year. I mean, if you look, 23-7 in his previous back-to-back. He wasn't great in that Dallas game, but they also won by 20. I
Right.
think it's just the point that he is playing back-to-backs right now. It has been tremendous for him. And I just, like you said, I don't really understand the price point when we're getting this version of Kawhi.
Right. And I like that they're home here. This is,
Yeah.
they didn't have to travel. The last couple of back to backs that they had here, they were in Sacramento and then they went into Golden State. I know it's not a huge travel situation there, but there is some travel. They're in that spot. And then you mentioned, they won by Dallas by a ton. He didn't have a great game in that one, but I'll give him a little bit of a buy for my own narrative here. So definitely in on some Leonard here at 8K.
Last 10 games, I just wanted to see because without De'Aaron Fox, the Kings were playing slow.
Sure.
Last 10 games, Kings are ninth in pace, and they're also conversely in that span 22nd in defense. So another one of those top 10 paced environments, bottom 10 defenses over that span. Really, really, really good spot for the Clippers.
Yeah. When we go down to more to the mid tier again, we've talked Jaylen Brown. I do like him in tournaments here tonight. Again, on the smaller slates, the player pool dies off pretty quickly. MPJ last night did not have it going again. 1 of 11 shooting. One of the reasons I think we saw Julian Strawther had the game that he had was that MPJ was missing every damn shot that went his way. Max Strus, Klay Thompson down here. Again, waiting on the Dallas news with THJ and Derrick Jones. Again, we'll get that for 7:30. Leaning that Luka might play, but if those guys get ruled in, I do like Tim Hardaway Jr. at $5,900 on this slate. Dante Exum at $5,700, I think, is a core for many guys. Many plays here tonight, whether people are in or out. Hard to argue with the recent run of production. Then did it again last night. 35 fantasy points at $5,700. Reeves, you mentioned, being pretty chalky. Patrick Williams, probable for tonight. Playing a whole boatload of minutes, being really productive, giving you the defense, giving you the rebounding that you've looked for out of him here. So again, some good mid-tier options here for a smaller slate. When we generally look at these small slates, and once you get by the top guys, sometimes the value just goes away.
Yeah, a lot of these names, thankfully, we could use here because it does. I feel like after Kawhi, kind of dry up a little bit. I'm out, Porter's whatever. At that price, 7,600 is too steep for me. Shrews.
Underdog saying Luka is officially going to play tonight, so maybe we'll get some of this Dallas news now.
Okay, good. That is good news. Let's see. Luka Doncic will play. Yeah, there beat writers reporting it as well. So nothing else definitive on the Dallas front, but as of right now,
Derrick Jones Jr. is out. Tim Hardaway Jr. still a game time decision.
Derrick Jones out. Grant Williams in. Luka in. THJ TBD. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean the THJ thing is interesting, John, because even when we were interested in him in the low fives earlier in the year, it was never because the minutes were there. Like it was 28 to 30 minutes. And then randomly this last game against Portland, 37 minutes. Like if that could be if I knew 37 minutes was the ceiling on Tim Hardaway without Kyrie, I would be completely interested because he is, although he rejected me from shaking his hand in a Chipotle one time or another, he can fill it up offensively, and would obviously is a threat to score 30 actually.
Yeah.
So 5,900 is not too expensive for me, especially with Derrick Jones Jr. being ruled out.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, listen, I think what's interesting here is simply the matchup that he can bring to the table as an outside shooter spreading the floor. But what does that do, I guess, for Grant Williams back? You have to assume he starts for Derrick Jones Jr. here tonight. He's gonna be in at the power forward spot.
Yep.
If THJ is in, does he start at the 2? Comes off the bench.
I think he's one of those guys. I feel like he's settled into. They're just going to start.
So is it Seth Curry or is it Jaden Hardy that gets hit with if THJ was the play tonight?
I think it hurts both. Definitely the Hardy play.
Okay.
I mean, Curry was secondary to Hardy for me anyway. But I think their starting lineup would be Luka, Exum, Grant Williams, Derek Lively, and Seth Curry would probably be the 5 that I would.
Yeah, Des Morris here wants to know any love for Grant Williams. I mean, he just has such a low floor. I understand that he's gonna shoot
6
threes,
times,
but like
make 6 threes. If he goes 1 for 6, you're dead.
I mean, like, this is your ceiling outcome, right? 16, 8, and 3, 31 minutes. Like, the minutes are going to be there. He just,
in theory, they should be.
Yeah, he was overrated in Boston. He gets a contract in Dallas. There's other shooters on the floor. Like, I don't know. He's 4,700.
Coming off an injury, coming off a multiple game absence.
Like, could have some limitations here.
Yeah, I don't.
Not my favorite spot. Having to deal with like Anthony Davis or something like that.
LeBron,
yeah, like Hachimura. Any of those guys could eat his lunch.
It's a no from me, dog.
Yeah, Des, I'm not going there tonight. Not personally here on a 5-gamer. I think there's some other, especially when he's power forward only too. You're just kind of limiting even his flexibility there. So I mean, unless you're a FanDuel player, maybe he's got some additional eligibility there, but I'm not really sure on that one. Okay. All right, so we have that news. We'll see again 7:30 lock. So hopefully we'll get more. We'll get that Tim Hardaway Jr. news before it comes out. The Kuminga news again, something that we'd like to know. 10 of 21, 29 minutes in that game against OKC, and he fouled out in that game. Would like to take a GPP flyer potentially on Jonathan Kuminga if we knew what they were going to do with him. Right? Are they going to use Wiggins? Are they going to start turning more minutes over to Kuminga? We already know he's kind of secure off the bench in his role, but there's a big difference between playing 16 and 29 minutes. So a little bit tough to go and trust there. Where else are we going at small forward? Are we believing any of these Phoenix plays without?
No. Right. I'm shutting you down before we don't even dive into those waters. Get away from Phoenix. Move on. They're all dead. That you can't figure it out. Yuta played 24 minutes last game. Chimezie Metu played 24 minutes last game, John, when Nasir Little got hurt. Okogie played 26 and didn't do anything over that span. No. Bates Diop started and couldn't even sniff the floor in the second half. I mean, there's just the Phoenix rotation is a nightmare to figure out. And on any slate, I'm not going to be the one to figure it out. I'm laying the law down. No, none of that Phoenix crap.
Sure.
No offense, they're professional basketball players.
Yeah, that's fine. They're better than they are. Taurean Prince, $4,100. Only played 19 minutes against Pacers there, but had a decent little role there prior. You mentioned Cam Reddish. I mean, what's the difference? They're almost the same player.
Yeah, I mean, it's just the only difference is that Prince has leapfrogged him, or Reddish has leapfrogged Prince, and now like with Hachimura back, with Vanderbilt back, I feel like Reddish is more likely to be on the floor guarding the best wing player on the opposing team, where like Prince is now like competing with Vanderbilt, competing with Hachimura again.
Sure. Anybody else down here that we haven't discussed at small forward? Any dart throws you're willing to take?
No.
All right, power forward position here. Again, JT, we've discussed Anthony Davis, LeBron James. If they're in, we're cool playing. Either again, 7:30 start, we will know where to go. We've talked DeRozan, we've talked Kawhi, Kristaps Porzingis, Draymond Green, kind of our next tier here. Zinger came back, played 29 minutes, had a pretty good game against the Knicks. Liking him here tonight, going up against Jared Allen?
Yeah. He's fine. He's kind of been fine. I mean,
he's come back from the injury.
Right. I mean, even pre-injury, like, he was fine. The minutes are, I think, like, after that opening night 38 minutes, Mazzulla took a look at Porzingis, was like, okay, let's actually settle him into, like, 33, 34 as, like, a cap. Sure. Because they also know, I mean, he has a very extensive history with injuries. I would say this is a very appealing price of all the Boston guys. Like, he's right there with Derek White in terms of like price point plays, him and Tatum. Boston is actually cheaper than they've been all year, like across the board. Yep. I mean, every player tonight.
Brown got a price decrease. Tatum got a price decrease.
So like, just from a standpoint of like pricing, Boston isn't as.
Last time Porzingis was 7,500, he dropped the 50 burger on everybody. So
yep.
Certainly
has that in the bag. Yeah.
Jared Allen gets in foul trouble. He's got old man Tristan Thompson, who's out there, fighting up with everybody. So, and then Draymond. I like Draymond's points in a PRA prop tonight. I have that over on Sleeper app, tonight. But if you like his points and assists, I think that's certainly a pretty interesting spot. It's like 22.5. The scoring has really been the difference maker for Draymond this year. We haven't seen this kind of scoring out of him consistently in a little bit. He's filling up the stat sheet. You're getting a couple of blocks out of him. Now no Kevin Durant tonight. Maybe the size with Nurkic bothers you a little bit, but I think Draymond, even with Chris Paul back, is in a really good spot here at a good price.
Yeah, the size doesn't necessarily matter. I mean, if that was the case, it would matter every time. He's like,
true. He's never growing taller. So
no, we've heard I've listened to podcasts be like, dude, Draymond's not 6'8". They're like, he's 6'5". Yeah. And he's literally what he is, right? He's made his mark in the NBA not for chokeholding Rudy Gobert, punching Jordan Poole, but he's made it because he's been a dog and he's shorter than everyone and he's gets rebounds over them. But he's been elite as a fantasy producer. 1.12 fantasy points per minute this year, John. I think the minutes, again, another guy who kind of seems capped low 30s when there's not overtime, because that OKC game was overtime, did foul out. Maybe that as the season goes deeper and they need more wins, maybe we do see Draymond play more mid-30s minutes. But if we get 33 minutes out of Draymond tonight, no question do I think 40 fantasy points is on the table. He's done it 3 straight games now. So I think Draymond is out to prove something, apparently. But yeah, pretty good spot. No Kevin Durant on the floor. Nurkic foul trouble all the time. And so yeah, Draymond 69 is good price.
After that, again, there's not a ton. Again, if somebody gets ruled out for the Lakers, like Hachimura would probably come into play. Prince, Reddish, guys we've talked about. Georges Niang, going to get yourself around 20 plus or so minutes. The man went 0 for 10 the other night. I don't think he goes 0 for 10 again. Not a great spot for him against Boston's perimeter defense, but I don't think he goes 0 for 10. So if you want to take a shot at Niang there with no Jared Allen, no Evan Mobley here tonight, I think you certainly can give that one a look. Otherwise, we're just sort of waiting for lineups to come out to see where some of the value could be at center or power forward. At center, C-Dog here wants to know our thoughts on Lively. What are we looking at for Derek Lively coming off of another pretty big game for the rookie here?
I floated it out to you yesterday because there is a ceiling, clearly. He is not the most polished offensive player, but he's really good with Luka in pick and roll, and he catches lobs, and he's really good on the offensive glass. And we've seen that now twice in the last 4 games where he's just dominated offensive rebounding. I mean, with Luka, there's a ceiling because the pick and roll is there, but Anthony Davis has also been so elite at rim protection of late. We just saw him put Miles Turner in foul trouble.
Yep.
That's always obviously in the card. So I'm okay getting to Derek Lively. He's not my favorite center, but he's definitely in play. He's 5,600 and has 56 and 40 fantasy points in 2 of his last 4 games. So.
Who is your favorite center on tonight?
I mean, Anthony Davis, if he plays, probably is my favorite center of the day. I like Sabonis on the flip side of this game. 34 minutes, 53 fantasy points last night, 1 assist shy of a triple-double. Him and Fox alternate who's the hub. I mean, Sabonis every time down is catching in the high post, and then they operate their offense from there. It's either open 3. They set their franchise record for most threes or the most made threes in a game last night. Like Sabonis had 9 assists in that game. Like it's direct correlation. 1, 2.
Did we lose you, James? You there? There you are. Okay.
Yeah,
you froze for a moment. We got you back.
Okay, yeah, I think Davis and Sabonis would probably be 1 and 2.
Okay.
Not to say that Jokic can't. I mean,
for sure.
Yeah, but how about this? If there's no Jamal Murray, is Jokic just the best play of the slate over Luka? Like if Murray sits, because we saw what Murray did. Like, look what happens when Murray goes off. Murray goes 12 for 15 last night in a game where he scores 29. And not to say Jokic had a bad game, but 58 where Jokic seems like, floor. which is crazy. But
yeah, I mean, we've had ceiling games with Jamal Murray back, but I mean, less shot attempts. Maybe they get some of the other guys going, like Aaron Gordon or Michael Porter Jr. or something like that. So I don't know if him coming off makes him an automatic best play on the slate. Still unsure if I'm even like getting to Luka or Jokic tonight, depending on how I build the lineups. But center is kind of a weak position here, so it could be a spot where just out of like lack of depth, you're almost paying up for Jokic here. We do have a question from Gator fan wants to know DeRozan or Paul George tonight. Where's your lean on that one, James?
I mean, I definitely like the game environment better for Paul George, but I definitely like the production that DeRozan's been giving us more of late. I'll go DeRozan with the understanding that he is in the worst spot.
Okay. And Sea Dog's over on FanDuel. He's trying to pick his power forward center combo. You going Draymond Green and Aaron Gordon or Draymond and Derek Lively if you're picking a combo here?
Aaron Gordon's kind of been bad. What's Aaron Gordon's price on FanDuel? 6,200. That's a good. I mean, that's a much better price for him. Draymond, Aaron Gordon, Draymond, and Lively. I'll go the second pairing, but it's close. What about you, John? Do you lean the Gordon side?
Yeah, I might lean the Gordon side against Chicago here, but again, for me, it's more so like if Anthony Davis doesn't play, I'd rather go Lively. So if he can wait, 20 minutes, an hour, half an hour, get the news on AD if he's in or out. If he's in, probably go the Aaron Gordon side. But I mean, Gordon's got to go with Patrick Williams, so it's not like it's
probably an hour. 7:30 lock tonight.
7:30. Okay, wait an hour. If you can wait an hour, get the news on Anthony Davis. Well, let us know, C Dog. I think you're in a Discord. If you're in our Discord, throw us your lineup. Let us take a look at where you're spending some money, see if we can move some things around. Because again, these front court plays tonight kind of shallower than we're used to seeing because of the small slate here. Again, Porzingis at 75, Nurkic. Any interest with no Durant tonight?
Yes. Because again, like it's kind of the Beal argument. How many minutes is he playing with Bradley Beal if Bradley Beal's limited? Like they're going to be playing together, but it's not like if Bradley Beal's playing 24 minutes, him and Nurkic aren't on the floor for 24 minutes together. Like Nurkic is going to have times in the floor where he's the definitive number 2 option, and we know he's kind of skilled everywhere. He's a skilled passer. He can score the basketball. He can hit threes. We know he's a good rebounder. So yeah, I don't necessarily love the price on Nurkic, but I definitely the minutes lately after like kind of a inconsistent stretch have been really consistent. And so has the production outside of the Lakers game. Outside of the Lakers game, again, because Lakers are really good defensively, has been pretty good. So yeah, I'm okay getting in Nurkic.
He's already a good rebounder, but taking Durant off the floor could be a little bit more of a ceiling rebounding game for him here as well. He'll have some of the size on Golden State. Cancun. I don't know. No.
Can
you can? There you go. He was mentioning the Aaron Gordon the last time we were out here against Chicago that he had a good game. He did 15, 12, 5, but we're more so recent production. Had a good game against Atlanta, struggled a little bit against Houston, LA. He's fine. Again, is he my favorite spot on the board? He's not, but look at all these road games they played. Like they're just road warriors right now for Denver. So
just took 9 shots in that Bulls game. Like the likelihood of Aaron Gordon putting up another like 15, 12, and 5 line in a game where he takes 9 shots is like pretty unlikely. So
agreed.
That out there as well.
Again, not a terrible spot on a small slate, because if he goes and has like a ceiling game or even a good game, a high floor game, like sometimes on these slates, you don't need everybody to go off for 70. You just need something to give you 35. So Gordon's certainly going to be a guy you can look at here tonight. Zubats, again, no Tice kind of led to him playing a whole bunch of minutes, but then last night 33 and had another good game. So $6,200 going up against Sacramento. Played against Sacramento, had a good game, 14-8, 3-3 against them. Getting seems like 5.5x return on him right now.
Yeah, Zubats is definitely appealing. And he was so dominant in that game. They got Daniel Tice in and out of that one last night. 14 minutes. They were like, nope, we're just going to go right back to Zubats. Definitely interested there. I do have mild interest in like some of the values. Obviously, like Drummond coming off. I mean, another patented Andre Drummond game last night, John. 9 and 16 in 14 minutes.
Right.
Vucevic gets in foul trouble. What do you think of? What do you make of Trey Lyles playing 23 minutes last night? Is that just him making every shot he took?
Well, we
Because
talk about this all the time. They go back and forth of side, kind of like including him in their rotation here. So, I
he
mean,
made
yeah,
every shot. He made.
if
I
he
mean,
gets
he made
hot,
every
they
shot he
leave him
took.
out there. They were also won that game by 13. Could also have a little bit to do with
He
it.
did not close. He did not close, or
Sure.
he did not. He was in. He was on the floor with the starters.
Okay.
I should say.
Who did they play over? Murray then?
They did not. No, they did not. Herter didn't get
Okay.
off. Herter just sat like the whole second half.
Again, we know this about Trey Lyles, right? He's a guy that can play 18 to 20 minutes depending on his run. So, I don't know. Daniel Tice played 15 minutes last night. Didn't really get much going. There's probably not a lot of good value down here. You could always throw darts on what Andre Drummond game comes through last night. 14 minutes, took 12 shots, 9 and 16 in 14 minutes for Andre Drummond. So you want to throw some darts at a dartboard, $4,800 Drummond, maybe the guy you can take a peek at. Anybody else for you at center? Any Jared Allen interest?
I mean, there's always, you got to have the goldfish memory, right? Fouls out in 15 minutes last night. He's been terrible for 3 straight games, 2 of which he's been in foul trouble. We also know there's a 50-point seal for Jared Allen, who he did it against the Lakers for crying out loud. So, if you want to go there, go there. He's not.
Yeah.
I don't currently have.
C-Dog, if you are a Fantasy Alarm subscriber, you have access to our premium channels. Just make sure you sync your account up there. If you're not, we do have a free NBA channel. You can throw a lineup in there. We'll help you out today. But right now is your best chance to join the Fantasy Alarm family. You'll see that scroll down at the bottom. I'll throw the QR code here up right now as well. If you use promo code Let's Go when you sign up, you get 50% off the first month. So month to month, save 50% off that first month. It's like $16, I think, for the first month here. So you can try us out for a month. If you don't like it, you'll cancel us. I'm sure you'll love us though, and you'll hang with us there and take advantage of the offer. You get access to our premium Discord and all of our premium content over at Fantasy Slam. That includes all sports, not just the NBA, but NBA, NHL, NFL, MLB is right around the corner. MMA still coming out. We have a big MMA card this weekend. Our guy Mike Ianone's taken down like 6 tournaments, like outright won 6 GBPs this year. So you get fire MMA content. So if you like the DFS game, if you like betting, we got it all over at Fantasy Alarm behind the paywall. Right now is your time to sign up. You can scan that QR code or go to fantasyalarm.com/let's go. Promo code Let's Go. We'll save that 50% off the first month in there. So check out that now. Grande, let's build a lineup. We know Luka's in.
Two notes,
Sure.
just quick. Karis LeVert going to try to go through warmups, and Jared Vanderbilt game time decision. If he plays, according to Darvin Ham, he'll be one of the options to guard Luka.
Okay.
So that's like, that tells me right there, Taurean Prince, see you later.
Probably true.
Cam Reddish, possibly see you later.
We interesting what that rotation looks like. Guard Luka until he gets 4 fouls and then comes out of the game.
Basically, I mean, they have a lot of those guys that they can throw out.
They do. Are you playing Luka tonight? Or are we going more fair and balanced? What are we doing here?
We could do fair and balanced. Okay. We could build fair and balanced.
Start off with Derek White then. Center play. Draymond, Porzingis, Zubac.
Yeah, let's do one of those guys. I like Zubac. Okay. Do we want to get Mr. Leonard in there as well?
Let's get Kawhi in a power forward. Small forward play. Give it Jaylen Brown.
Austin Reeves.
What's our value here? 5,200. We had at least one.
Well, the value is if Hardaway sits, it's Jaden Hardy. Okay. But we can't play him if Hardaway plays. Sure. Probably.
Do you want to
Strother 35?
Do you want to play? I mean, people are getting the Strother you said, right? So
yeah, 13% as it currently stands, getting Julian Strother.
I don't. I really don't.
I don't really
love that.
No, it's not comfortable.
Rather go like Sam Hauser at 43, I think. Than
yes, Hauser is a pretty good value.
So there's not a ton here. I mean, Norm You like Monk. What's Monk's price out here?
Not a value.
61, but it's only 44. That's Hauser right there. 43.
Yeah, just pivot with Hauser and
Sure.
someone else.
So just an example lineup for everybody, going a little fair and balanced. So we ended up just stacking Clippers and Clippers, I guess, in Boston. Clippers Boston stack here. White, Reeves, Brown, Leonard, Zubac's, Monk, Powell, and Hauser. Again, as value opens up, you'll be able to build up a better lineup. You maybe even spend up at some of these top plays if you want. We do like Jason Tatum. We like Anthony Davis and that crew here, but tonight's going to be pretty difficult unless some more value opens up to really, truly go stars and scrubs here this evening. Monk's 5,600 on FanDuel. It's a good price. Again, the way Malik Monk's been playing right now, hard to go away from him. Definitely some tournament winning upside at his price tag, especially at $5,600. So get in our Discord again. Scan that QR code here on the screen. The playbook is live. Get premium Discord access. You can ask us all the questions you want in there. We'll be here till roster lock for everybody here tonight. Of course, we'll be back live tomorrow. Big slate on Wednesday. We'll have the live stream at 5, the podcast out in the morning. You can find us all there. But for now, everybody, have a good night tonight, and we will catch you all later.